So $2 billion of ADA flows in as we see 62% surge in volume. Let's dig in to ADA. Let's go. I wanted to touch on Cardano a little bit here. We've got $2 billion in 24 hours amid 62% volume surge. ADA's been doing really well, in my opinion. We've seen total value locked increase steadily over the last 12 to 18 months. I think they've got a pretty decent ecosystem that's being built out. You've got the likes of SingularityNet and SingularityNet ecosystem projects that have pivoted over from Ethereum to Cardano as well. Whether they stay there is yet to be seen, but if they do, I do believe that Cardano has the potential to be like the AI layer 1 protocol with that sort of integration with SingularityNet and the ecosystem that they've got, because that is a phenomenal AI ecosystem. So I think things are really positive for Cardano, but things don't go up in straight lines, do they, Nick?
They sure don't.
They don't. So it's one of those. Again, you could probably get a pretty decent position after a Fed pivot, for example. The other thing to talk about is my favorite analyst in all the world, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘. People don't like me bashing this guy. I don't dislike him as an individual. I just I feel that a lot of liquidity is just being drained out of the Cardano ecosystem, and when people call him out, he just talks about going and doing different content, and for me that kind of shows you a lot. He wasn't at any Cardano events in the bear market either. For an influencer that makes so much money off of Cardano, I'd expect him to be at some of these events, but that's just a personal thing. It's just my views. Don't make me taint your views of crypto influencers. But Dan at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, I always find that a mouthful to say, believes that Cardano could surge 500%. And he talks about, obviously, the bullishness, highlighting the fact that he's zooming out, and it just looks really, really positive. But I mean, you can zoom out, you're just going to see what I've mentioned already when it comes to what happens when you go towards a Fed pivot. You see this traditionally anyway. So yeah, I think it's a little bit deceiving. Obviously, the talk of the halving and stuff. This always kind of just gets built into a lot of these predictions. But Nick, what's your thoughts on a 500% surge for ADA?
It's playing it safe. That's basically just a revisit to the previous all-time high. That's a safe play. That isn't even considering a new all-time high. I think Cardano will go significantly higher based on the supply-demand imbalances that we can see when we actually analyze the data for Cardano.
Yeah.
I mean, off the top of my head, from the last time I can remember looking at the on-chain analytics, I think we're now sitting around about 690 million native ADA locked up, which is an increase of 245%, I want to say it is. So an unbelievable increase in the last 365 days for the TVL side of ADA. And this is not on any of these screens. I wish I could show you that. That's literally off the top of my head. I don't think it's far off of there. So
I'm just going to have a quick look, actually.
Yeah, throughout the bear market, the bearish times, the TVL has skyrocketed for ADA. Now, people are looking at it through the wrong lens. They're looking at it through the dollar value. It's not the way to look at TVL. Look at the actual native token, how many of those native tokens are currently locked up, and ADA has been sensational recently.
So it's 722 million ADA that is currently locked up. It did peak higher at 768 million ADA. It is up 165% in the last year. That is from a native point of view. From a dollar value,
it's moved on a bit since the last time I looked at it then, but so that's still very impressive.
Because obviously the value of ADA fluctuates, right? From a dollar value point of view, it's up 237% in the last year, with $362 million locked up. But it did peak up higher than that. We actually saw a dollar value of $444 million. And this, guys, is a part of the on-chain analysis that you can get your hand through the membership. There you go.
Awesome. One thing that is in here is a little bit of talk about modest growth for Ethereum. What I would say is Ethereum, I think, is going to see huge growth. I think it will actually outperform Bitcoin. For this to happen, though, for this prediction to come to fruition, we need an Ethereum spot ETF. Obviously, the SEC have recently delayed their decision on approving one of those, but I think it's inevitable. It will happen. And if it happens this, for this bull market, which I'm going to say it will, just based on who's trying to get it done, we'll see huge growth for Ethereum. So going to be really interesting to see this play out. But what I would say, if you look at the price of Bitcoin and you look at the price of Ethereum, if you look at what could potentially happen when you view it from a gain perspective, Ethereum is a better play. It's actually cheaper, based on the price and the potential gains. So for your risk averse kind of person, that would be the one that I would go for. I imagine that you'll probably see a lot of people articulating it better than me now that I've said it, because loads of people watch what we say and seem to,
They don't just watch what we say; they watch what we do, and they take that too.
They take that too. They do. But yeah, look, I wanted to talk about this. Look, I don't dislike Dan as an individual. I just, I don't like the preaching, and I don't like people taking liquidity out of a project I really like and not really bringing the value. And what I mean by value is attending the events, showing that you care, not when people give you a hard time, talk about doing content on a completely different sector. Kind of tells you everything you need to know from my view. Crypto stocks rally pre-market as Bitcoin tops 46K. The reason why I bring this up is months ago, because this is what we do. We talk about stuff before it happens. I was calling out in the Discord that we should probably get exposure to crypto stocks. And what I mean by crypto stocks is stocks where the companies that you're getting stock in are exposed to Bitcoin and crypto. This, for me, was something that I saw a lot of big players doing very early on, the likes of BlackRock and various others. They were getting heavily involved in like the Bitcoin miners, the companies that are doing that. They own like a silly percentage now. It's becoming very, very centralized. But this is where real money is if you're in the stock market, in my humble opinion. And I just wanted to bring it up again because I'm really passionate. I'm more passionate about this than I am the Fed pivot. I'm just going to put that out there. Like, everybody knows how passionate I am about the Fed pivot and what's going to happen off the back of that. But this, again, is another one that I'm really, really bullish on. US Bitcoin spot ETFs make up 15% of Bitcoin spot trading, according to Coinbase. Again, this is something that we talked about earlier in the live stream, where I was suggesting that there actually isn't a lot of volume. This is what we're seeing with other influencers complaining about, like a lack of fees from the exchanges. The only people that are really coming into this space outside of people that are already here is big money, and they're going through Coinbase. And yeah, look, it makes up 15%. We're so early, and this is the point that needs to be made. We're so early for cryptocurrency investing, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever altcoin it is. There's so many people that don't even know what crypto is. I'm sure if I went and walked the streets and said, do you know what Bitcoin is? There'd be a lot of people that do know, but there'd be an awful lot of people that still don't know what Bitcoin is or don't know what crypto is. So, until that starts to improve over time, which I think it will now we've got the Bitcoin spot ETFs, it will improve because it's going to be on mainstream like televisions, the finance sector of like the news channels and stuff. And I know in the US you get a lot of this already, but in the UK you don't tend to. So it'd be new here and across Europe and various other places. it's going to do this. Bitcoin breaks 47K for the first time since March 2022. Again, I think this is really, really important for me. Seeing Bitcoin hit 47K is a good thing, but I don't think people should be getting carried away just yet. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is the performance of the Bitcoin spot ETFs. I think, again, it's really interesting. Obviously, the SEC approved 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs. We've got the Bitcoin spot ETFs are actually been outperforming silver ETPs for the last week of trading. And I think that that's pretty monstrous, bearing in mind how new they are. So I wanted to kind of just touch on those things. I think it's really interesting to see Bitcoin outperforming silver. I don't think it's going to be that long before it's outperforming gold, and I know that's going to trigger quite a few people. I'm not talking about like a matter of weeks, I'm talking like matter of months. But I do think that, you know, that will happen. I think it's inevitable as, you know, these Bitcoin spot ETFs soak up even more Bitcoin, because that's going to happen. 7.7 billion. It's just the start of where things are heading. So 6-8 months from now, there's going to be significantly more locked up, and then, you know, we've got a real supply demand imbalance at that point, I feel, and that's where we're going to start to see significant growth. But what are your guys' thoughts? Do you align with that? Do you think I'm way off? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's still a long time before we see a lot of the money rolling in from the ETFs into crypto. Obviously, you're saying 15% of the volume, spot volume, is being made up by these ETFs. Well, that's a bit of a no-brainer when there's a lack of volume in the market, right? And so, yeah, it's great to see, but we're so far off from where I think it's going to go. So very early days, very, very early days.
So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, mash up that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And if you are interested in Solana, check out JB's latest video. Take care. I'll catch you in the next one.